Hi, welcome to hi. How corny is that? Mbote, welcome to another episode of the Bantu Boyz podcast.
Yo,
I'm your
yo,
host.
yo.
I'm terrible. This is terrible. I'm your host, Baleko Wisa, here with
Julian Chikun as a second host.
yes, and
Patrick De La Bonza.
yes, the crooked manager. And today we have a very, very special guest from Down Under. Very excited because I'm in debt to her. So slowly,
Australia.
Yes. Go ahead, introduce yourself, Yaya.
Hi guys, my name is Felie Kazadi and I am in Australia, basically.
Hello, Philly. Okay, welcome.
Felie, Australia, the Down Under. Hey, do you eat kangaroo?
Do I eat kangaroo?
Yeah, I don't know. Do they eat kangaroo out there?
They actually do. Yeah, they do eat kangaroos. I've not. Yeah, they do. I haven't tasted kangaroo meat. People say it's good. So
Wow.
I haven't eaten it yet. Yeah.
I was just joking around. I was like trying to be, like
So
prejudiced.
really?
Like, no, like, humans are the worst. They're like, hey, there's meat, let's just eat it.
Like the boomerang
Well-
came back so real.
Yeah, right. Where how do they hunt it with the boomerang?
What is it?
No, I'm
Sorry,
just
I
saying,
didn't
like, do they hunt it with the boomerang? Like, to grab them. But no. Okay. So wait. So you're from Australia. You said what city are you from?
I'm Cairns. I am in Queensland, and I'm in Cairns. It's near Brisbane. Nobody knows Cairns because it's a little town. So, but if you say Brisbane, everybody knows that. But I'm near Brisbane, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there like a big Congolese community?
Okay, not really where I am. There's a couple of Congolese people here that just moved, but not a lot. Yeah, it's a couple of families. You could literally count them.
Let me wait. Before any of you guys interrupt, is there even a lot of black people in Australia? Like,
Very good question.
I mean,
It's very diverse. Yeah, they do. I mean, black people don't make up even maybe 10% of the population, but yeah, you see them around. Yeah, there's a couple.
Interesting.
Okay. It's funny because I asked her who she is and where is she from. You guys want to take the third question?
Absolutely. I'll go ahead
Okay.
and jump into it.
Yes.
Miss Felie Kazadi. I love to
Yes.
say your last name with the accent, with that accent.
Kazadi.
Yeah.
My middle name is Chiamba. That's even better.
What?
It's
Hold on,
amazing.
no. Chiamba?
Yes.
How do you spell? My sister is Chiamba too.
Really, it's like
Look at that.
T-S-H-I. Chiamba.
Oh, okay. My sister, it's I and Y actually, Chiamba.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's crazy.
Oh.
What?
Just having a nice moment. This is fire. Okay.
Right?
No, this is great. This is great.
Feli, I have a question
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is your educational background?
I studied business management, basically. That's the degree that I have, and I completed it in 2018. So that's it.
Well,
That's all there
congrats.
is.
Okay,
Thank
congratulations. And you
Thanks.
did all
Very
your
strong
classes.
Congolese degree right there. Finance.
Amen.
Business.
That's a good approach. That's a good
Business stuff,
approach.
I'm in business.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
So did you start you did all your general education back in Australia or just?
No, I did the whole of my primary school and a bit of my high school in Congo.
Okay.
And then my family moved in Solomon Islands. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. It's just in the Pacific as well. It's another
Solomon
country.
Islands. Is that where that one
Yes.
missionary guy got killed by those island natives for trespassing, or am I thinking of something else?
You
I
think of
have
something else?
not heard of the story, but they usually they're very nice.
Mhm.
I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe it is, but yeah, we were there for like a year and a half, and then I moved to Papua New Guinea. Actually, if you said that they got killed in Papua New Guinea, I would have understood.
Oh,
Wow.
Because I don't know, stuff happened in that country, and then we moved in Australia. I think 7 years ago.
okay.
How
Yeah.
was the still, since I asked you that question regarding your education, how was the level of the education from the Congo to Australia?
It's different. It's so different. Education in Congo is, I really think it's outdated and it needs to go. So we had stuff like they would teach you about computers. So they teach you IT, but they don't have computer labs. So they teach you the theories, but when they present you with a computer, you don't know what to do because you're seeing it for the first time. So it was really, really outdated. That's what I would call it. I don't know what it's like now, but back then it was messed up a little bit. And it's so brainwashed as well. You know, it's a very whitenized kind of system. So they teach you Congolese history, for example, but they're teaching you in a way where you will admire white people instead of actually knowing really happened, and at that time.
Okay, probably from the colonial time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
They would teach us like about Diego Cao or something. So they're teaching you like as if it was like a glorious story, but it's actually a messed up story. But they kind of like making it a positive thing. Yeah.
I feel like this is sorry. I feel like this is how you know that we still have a lot of work to do in that field, educational field.
It's
absolutely
funny.
Like
it's
in
funny.
general,
I'm reading this this book, and they show like stories of like the Portuguese when they were teaching the Congolese like children. And there's like I'm paraphrasing because I have it like in my notes, but I didn't know we're going to talk about this, but they're literally telling Congolese kids, we are cursed because of our skin. King Leopold came to save us. This is what they're telling like kids.
This is crazy.
Like this is 1500.
It's crazy.
1500. And you're saying 7 years ago. Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
No, yeah, honestly, like it's almost going to be 10 years since I left Congo, like to live outside for a long time. But I don't think a lot has, maybe with the media and stuff like that, with internet, a lot has changed. But back then, you just see, even now when I see them, when I look at, other Congolese youth or something, it's just a whole new generation being brought up in that brainwashing kind of system. They just look for the glorious white man to come and save us, or the white world, basically. Which is
no better here in the
States.
Oh, it's no better here in the States. Oh, we love them.
It's a lot.
Now, if you want some Black history, you have to teach yourself.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe you get to college and you take like a African American studies course, and that can start to help get rid of some of the brainwashing.
Well, go ahead to you guys. If you have, I'm gonna sorry. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
But you guys, if you have, go ahead to the next question.
But not
Pat, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So, Felie, I know you have a YouTube channel, and it's Congo Talk 243, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Which love the channel, by the way. I watch a few of your videos here and there. So
you
keep
do?
that up.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
We do.
Hey, I forgot the Kikongo. I forgot the Kikongo you taught me, but it was fun.
You guys.
For the first 5, the one day I remembered it was fun knowing those, how to say 1 to 5. But
yeah, absolutely.
But just wondering, what made you start the page?
I started it as Afric Talks before. It was Afric Talks 54, I think. Because I wanted to speak of the African culture and then the African history and stuff like that. But then I know myself, and I knew that I was kind of a lazy person, so I wouldn't really be able to study the African continent as a whole. So I was just like, this is too big, because even Congo itself, I didn't really know it that much. So I just thought, the African continent, the African people, we're not even informed about each other. So I felt like it would be good for me to use what I saw in Congo and also learn more about Congo while educating everybody else. So I just thought it would be better that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's great. Oh, go back. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say. So I mean, obviously you kind of touched on a little bit. Like, what kind of videos do you do on the channel?
So mostly I speak of Congo. So I speak of Congolese culture, which is the language teaching is kind of part of it. I speak of Congolese music, but I also speak of the regional African stuff, like African news, and I add commentary in stuff that I care about. So it's basically just Congolese and African culture, history, and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. I think that's very important because, like we were saying earlier, like the last question Julian asked or whatever, like, you know, in order for us to like find out about ourselves, we have to actually do the research. So like a page like yours where you're like, no, I'm going to share this information. And I think like, hopefully we start to change the idea of like, you need to learn all of your history, even if it's good or bad. You know what I mean? Because that's who you are as a person. That's what makes us as people or whatever, right? You know what I mean? Like, I know, like, people don't love Mobutu, but you got to talk about it. That's a part of our history.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yes. I'm one of those people who do not like that guy, but I know about it.
Well, you don't like Mobutu?
Me too. I don't like him.
I don't like him.
Hey. Here we go with this. Jesus.
That's actually a very good topic.
All right.
It is, yeah.
One of these days, I guess we're gonna have to do the Mobutu episode. That's gonna be a real
because you know why?
interesting one.
Because until to this day, Mobutu still have a huge fans.
Yeah.
And that's
I can see why. Like I
which
see
is
the
not
positive and
normal.
the negative sides of him. Yeah.
And here's the thing, like, and not to put it on the same level, like, you know, there's people that love Trump. There's people that hate him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's, you know what I mean? There's some people that probably be like, hey, Mobutu was good to me when I was around him. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, just people are.
He wasn't all bad, you know, like on some level, like the whole authenticity kind of thing. It wasn't such a bad move. I just wish he had a heart. Like he had a brain, but not a heart.
Unfortunately, he was just corrupt. Mobutu was just the how do you say?
Puppet.
Exactly. Placed
He
by
was a puppet.
Yeah, just a puppet. Just placed by the Europeans to play the game. That's it.
Absolutely. And we're seeing a new one here with Kagame as well. But I can compare them. I can literally see what the correlation is. Yeah, they both.
Look at this one. This one does a research.
Hey, it's real. Hey.
Hey, but you know what's funny? The interesting about Kagame, though, I mean, it's Africa, so he's a dictator. But it's interesting how you see somebody who I'm not in Rwanda, obviously, so I only see the news reports and stuff. It seems like there's a level of like stability. You know, there's some infrastructure there that you kind of wish was in Congo, and the structure there that you wish that was there. It's like, like I don't know. In my mind, I'm like, if you're gonna be a dictator, you could at least fix a few things up a little bit. I mean,
that's what Mobutu was as well. When Mobutu was a president, Congo was clean and everybody was singing his praises because he was kind of like, you know, like he was doing what the West wanted him to do. And I feel like it's something to do with Kagame as well. And people have to understand that, you know, Kigali is not Rwanda, you know? So when you see Kigali, you cannot be like, you know, Rwanda is so organized and stuff like that. Inside the Rwanda, what is happening there? I feel like it's more of a silence than a peace kind of thing. And people don't really go in the interior parts of Rwanda. They just go to Kigali and they're like, Rwanda is such a beautiful place, but it's not necessarily true.
Hey, we gotta bring her back. We gotta bring her back.
We can talk about. Yeah, this would be great. So wait. So Felie, what languages do you speak?
I speak Kikongo, Lingala, French, English.
Oh, okay.
Formidable.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Formidable.
Kikongo, Lingala. So you're missing Swahili and Chiluba.
I'm learning Swahili actually. Chiluba, my dad is Muluba, so I always tell him, because I'm kind of half. I'm half West and half Muluba. So my dad, you know, I've always told him, teach me some Chiluba, but Chiluba is also like Yachanana, so I don't really I don't really trust it. Yeah.
I'll pretend like I knew what you meant.
That's funny.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. No, you don't gotta translate. Let y'all two have this moment right here.
Julian, you understand, right?
Actually, I knew you were Muluba from your last name right away. Of course.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
And actually, do you have a related family back in Europe?
A related family back in
Yeah,
Europe where
there.
like
I know people that have the same last name.
no,
No?
actually Kazadi is such a popular name. It's really weird. When you travel, at least like I don't know, 6 other people are called Kazadi and they're like, you guys have one family? Like, no. Just,
It's like
no, I
Smith
don't.
in America.
Yeah. Or what is
Oh
it?
really?
Isn't it like, what is it? Ilunga's another one for you guys, or like?
Yes.
Ilunga.
Ilunga, yeah.
Strong.
My brother-in-law's last name is Ilunga.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Cool.
Kazadi.
Oh,
Okay.
wait. So,
Kazadi.
Felie, with your let me ask this next one. With all the languages you speak, the 4 languages you speak, on your channel, do you also teach those languages, or do you only like teach one specific? Like, do you only I'm gonna teach Congo, teach Lingala?
I mainly focus on Kikongo because I feel like it's a language that doesn't really get that much attention. Everybody wants to speak Lingala, and there's a lot of Lingala resources for you to use to learn.
Right.
Even on YouTube, there's a lot. So I just thought that Kikongo wasn't really out there, so I just wanted to put it out there most. But occasionally, I can also teach Lingala as well.
But can you write in Kikongo?
I can write in Kikongo actually, because in Congo, this is the best thing actually I can think of, because in primary education, like when you're starting school, they actually teach you how to read and write in Kikongo and how to count and stuff like that. So you speak it outside informally, but you also learn about it in class. Only when you're moving up, they remove it for French. But yeah, I do, yeah.
Wait, really? When do you start learning French?
Let's say year 3-ish. So from preschool till like year 2, beginning of year 3, you learn Kikongo. Everything is in Kikongo basically. And it also depends, right? It depends on which side of the country you are. So if you are in the East, you're most likely learning Swahili or something.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Like, one of my dreams is to try to learn Kikongo, because Kikongo is like, I don't know, we're about Congo, so it's like, that's like our language. It's not really Lingala, it's Kikongo. It's like, but gosh, I don't know. I don't even know where to start, because I don't even know how to say hello.
And Kikongo, Mbote, just say Mbote. Kiambote, Mbote.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bleed over, so interesting. Well, yeah.
Next question.
Yeah.
No, that's Patrick, get question number 7.
For sure. So just wondering, with all this language talk we're doing, like, how do you feel like about Congolese people who like me, who only speak English or French but don't really speak any of our native languages?
And excuse me.
All right.
I was trying to be nice.
My question is why, huh?
Bileko doesn't speak any of those languages, by the way. Everything Bileko says tonight, it's scripted. Okay.
I actually took French in high school and college, so I read it better than I speak it. So
you don't have to learn French. Just throw it in the bin. According to me, you don't have to learn French. So I don't see the use of me stressing on people learning French, because it's just perpetuating, I think that's the word, that whole concept that I have to learn a European language. Like for me, I think actually English is good because you choose to learn English, because French was kind of like imposed on people, and I do not like French at all. I think it's good that it kind of allows us to communicate with each other in the country, because we don't speak each other's national language. So that's definitely a plus, but I don't think it has to be given that much importance as we give it, I guess, in Congo or elsewhere. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting, because like for us, like me and Patrick grew up in LA, in the States, and like the kids that are here, like they don't even, like the parents don't even teach them Lingala or Kikongo or Chiluba. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
America.
I'm gonna be right. I don't even thank goodness I just had an ear, and I was always listening to my mom and my older sister speaking Lingala. And we go to these events, and I can hear Lingala, and I have like a Lingala book that helps out. But the past 2-3 years, I've been trying my hardest to like speak it. Like I was like, because I can read and write Lingala, which is crazy. But like when I speak it, I sound like one of those, like, those priests, at in the church in Congo or whatever.
Bino. Every syllable. Every syllable.
Nothing simple, you know. And
no, continue trying, huh? Yeah.
But I think it stems from like the confidence, man. Like you've got to have like confidence and pride, and like this is mine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, that as younger people are, they're changing a lot of stuff. Like we have people like you, of course, who don't speak Lingala, usually, but you kind of forcing yourself to kind of like learn it. And I think our generation is so different to our parents' generation. We're a bit more woke. That's your word. I think we're a bit more woke, and we kind of like trying to learn our native stuff and our culture, and kind of like trying to bring it back to the past or something. And I think that's a good thing, even if you don't know. I think just that willingness to kind of learn is a good thing, I think.
Hey, she doesn't have an Australian accent.
I don't. I'm not Australian.
I mean, you were, wait, how old were you? You said it already, but how old were you when you got to Australia?
I was 18-ish, I think.
Oh, yeah, then yeah.
Oh, you're done. Oh, you're not even Australian.
Yeah,
you're taking these Australians.
Maybe it might creep in there, but yeah, probably not.
I came here already old, and I don't have an accent, I guess. I have no accent. I just talk, and it sounds as whatever it sounds like.
Maybe you're faking it. You know what I mean? Like maybe
you never know. You never know, right?
Exactly.
Like, but because there's no such thing as a Congolese accent because we don't speak English. So I just kind of like, it depends on who I'm talking to. Mm-hmm. I kind of adapt, so I don't have an accent.
Okay. Because at least when you talk, you sound like somebody who grew up, like somebody who came over here, who came here to the United States instead. Like when you talk, like I could see going to high school with you.
That's right.
Yeah. There's no down under, like nothing like that.
You know what?
They say hello.
That's great.
Like there's nothing like that.
Because you definitely sound like someone that eats, mikate and peanut butter at the same time.
Oh, here we go. I didn't even want to bring it up.
I don't eat peanut butter, but I eat
Oh, shit, disconnect. Patrick, please. I'm out.
There it is.
I'm out.
See, so like, Julian, see.
What the hell is that? Come on.
See, I respect people who eat peanut butter, but like, not on mikate or
Kazadi.
Wait, anything. So you're saying you don't eat fumba?
I eat fumbwa. See, I eat it in food, but I don't eat it just like that.
Just like, you mean like
I eat fumbwa and I eat peanuts, but I don't eat it, the peanut butter. It's just ew.
Interesting. Ew. But the fumbwa is like, it's peanut butter stew. Like, it's the main ingredient.
But it's not the only thing in there,
But
it has like,
what's fumbwa without peanut butter though? Like, what is it?
There is no fumbwa without peanut butter.
Exactly.
But it's different.
Look, you gotta look. Just try it out. It'll change your life.
Felie, they don't understand.
I've tried.
The credit score will go up. The sky will turn blue. All this clouds will disappear out of the sky. It's a beautiful thing. The world just becomes better once you join our side of life.
We probably wouldn't have corona.
Come on. Go ahead, Bleko. You want to go?
You're more likely
the next
to have
question?
Yeah, sure. So, Felie, how do you break down the teaching lessons? Like, how do you break down, like...
Well, I just teach, like, conversational Kikongo, basically. So I just teach random stuff, I can teach on how to formulate phrases. I teach you how to count. So it's not like I've structured it. So I just feel like I just want to get people to speak as much as they can. So I'm not really trying to structure it as, like, a subject or anything. But just to get them to pick one thing or two and be able to like formulate phrases and stuff like that.
So if I wanted to travel to Congo, right, whatever, this is barring COVID-19 or whatever, your videos would help me where I can finagle myself. I would be comfortable to be in Congo speaking Kikongo.
It depends on where in Congo you're going to. Like if you go in Kinshasa, there are people who speak Kikongo. So I feel like Kikongo will help you most if you are in the west of Congo. If you go to the east, it's not going to help you much. But that's the country that we're living into. So you have to try to learn a bit of everything if you want to visit everywhere, basically, or just learn French as well.
let me ask you this: have you? And we didn't put this on the list, but I just thought about this. Have you? Are you thinking about having something like written down? Like, you're trying to put it like in a book. You're trying to have like a voiceover, like, or where something people can have something tangible, where it's like, oh, I could, or an app.
A lot of people are kind of like suggesting that to me. I will look into it. I don't see it happening now, but it's something that maybe later on I can have a look at. I think can look into.
Because I think there's.
But yeah, go on.
No, I was gonna say I think there's a market for it because it's like, I know, like, as we've gotten older or whatever, you know, you think about, you get married, you have kids and stuff like that. It's like, hey, I got to keep the language. Like, I have this really old Lingala book, grammar book, and I'm like typing it up. It's like this book is old, so it's like some of the way words are spelled are different than how they're spelled now, right? Because, you know, language changes, and it's like, I don't know. Have you ever read this? Do you know anything about linguistics and the brain? Okay, so
no.
So it's very, very important to learn a language before you hit puberty. Because once you hit puberty, the chemical imbalances in your body, they change where it makes it hard for you to observe language. That's why, that's why, like, for example, you, Patrick, you're like, I don't speak Lingala. But the fact you were around it as a child, and you speak Congo and French and stuff like that, it's in you. You know how they always say, like, language is in you? Literally, like, chemically, it's like in you or whatever. So that's why, like, I know from, like, I would say from 14 to, like, 20, I didn't really speak that much Lingala because I was always around Americans, traveling, playing basketball, whatever. But then, like, I was like, oh, I can read it now. And they're like, some of my American friends, when they see me, like, now speak Lingala, they'll be like, I didn't know you spoke another language. I was like, yeah, it's in me. So it's, right? No, but it's like, if you have this book or whatever, something that's tangible that parents can have, especially, like, voiceover, where you can just have it play for kids, that'll be very, very helpful.
There's something that I got online. It's like a dictionary thesaurus or whatever you want to call it. This thing. It's actually really good because it has like Lingala, Kikong, and Swahili and Chiluba. A friend of mine sent me like a link for me to get it, and I got it from there.
Can I see it again?
You can.
Yeah, hold that up right up to the screen, so even our viewers can see it.
I know it's upside down probably, but like
no, it's showing just right.
Nice. I like it.
Okay. Wow, Scott. Okay, all the heavy hitters.
So I think it comes from the UK. I don't know who's really selling it. I see a bunch of names here, but they're really good. I haven't really used it, so but you can really use it. I might start using it for Chiluba and Swahili though.
I need to learn Chiluba.
That's real good.
Wait, but I thought you spoke Chiluba, Julian.
No, I don't. I know a few words in Chiluba, in Swahili, but I'm fluent in Lingala.
Oh, okay.
So ki olingo loba nazo awa nazo to solo la problem is that.
Now loba. Problem is that.
Wait, ngai pe na ibiko na ibiko.
Okay.
But
guys like Kula, Zali, give me time. Give me
a year. But yeah,
that's good.
Keep improving my Swahili and Chiluba, of course.
Me too. I only know like a few things. Like when I was younger, my mom always used to say something. I was like, Luaku is I think come or something.
Luaku.
Because my mom is not my mom is not a Muluba, but she used to always say Luaku or something like that. But I also knew, Betwabu. Ujibimpa. Ujibimpa. Exactly.
Yo, Bimpa.
So bish. Exactly. So
yeah. That's awesome.
Wait, so what about this? What about like for kids? Like, what advice would you give? I know we kind of talked about it, like with like the linguistics. What advice would you have? Because we're all over the world. Like the fact that you're in Australia, we're in the States. Julian, you grew up in Belgium. What advice would you give like a parent if they were trying to like teach their kids to like keep your language?
They can speak to them in their language because a lot of parents opt for because kids can speak any other language. If they're living in an English-speaking country, they will know how to speak English, because when they step out of the house, that's what they're going to speak, right? So you have to really try to speak to them in the native language at home, so that they can like keep that balance, I guess.
It's weird because you like, I'm demanding that you make a book and a curriculum, like something tangible. Not demanding. No, because like, look, if somebody that's like in like New York City, or they're in like England or whatever, if they're conscious enough, since we're all like a little bit, we're woke, right? You can teach your kids, you can teach your kids how to like write and read it, because speaking it is great, of course, but to be like, no, that to help it like be more embedded, it's like, no, I can read it and write it.
No, yeah, absolutely, yeah. That's actually a good idea, because when I saw you mentioning that, like teaching it for kids, I really think it's a really good idea. Like if there are people who are willing to teach it, I think they can get a bunch of kids and teach them as well. And we're living in a world that is digital as well. I mean, people can always organize something for kids. But what I teach is also just, it's a general kind of like, it's general lessons. So anybody can actually learn it. But I understand that kids are not always on YouTube or anything like that. So it would be something that I can think of in the future, definitely.
Yeah, I think once you start doing that, like, tag us so we can always repost it. Because there's like, I was when I asked you earlier how many people are like, if there's a big community in Australia, there's a big community here in the States, and of course in Europe and stuff like that. And people would definitely be interested. Like, I think with us, once we know somebody's doing something, we jump on. It's just that we just don't know. You know what I mean? Because if a Congolese person in New York finds out there's a Congolese person in North Carolina that's teaching Kikongo, they're gonna be like, wait, what? Their kids are learning Kikongo? Oh, I gotta do something for my kids, or you know what I mean? So they're gonna, because we don't think we have these services out here. We think we move from home, and it's like, oh, we're done. We don't,
No, yeah, you're right. I'll start writing down a few things. I really think that's a really good idea. I'll start doing that.
All right, good, great. I don't owe you anymore. Yeah. You guys, hey, next question.
You owe me that Lingala tag, bro.
Okay.
I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, because I think because I think for me. Oh no, Julian, I was just going to say, go ahead. I thought you were trying to figure out which one it was.
Oh, okay, no. I think we're here with the technique, right?
11?
Yeah. What are the Felie? What are the ways, the ways or technique for Congolese people to maintain the mother tongue?
YouTube.
When they're not
honestly,
around other Congolese people.
Yeah, YouTube. I really think people can learn so much from YouTube than they know. Yeah, absolutely. There is everything that you want. Listening to Congolese music and keeping that culture kind of alive in your mind is really powerful. And I think that's what has kind of like kept me like grounded in terms of my Congolese-ness, I guess. So I was always checking even some Congolese theater, whatever you want to call it. Like it's not really that I'm into them, but I used to watch that because that's how I learned English. Like when I left Congo, my English was nowhere. I just knew good morning. Like if you ask me what was your name, I would be like, I don't understand. Don't ask me that. So like that's how I learned, by watching English English shows or whatever. Absolutely. So I think it's a really powerful way to keep the mind kind of like active in terms of like the Congolese culture or Congolese languages. So listen to Congolese music, watch Congolese, comedy, whatever, Lingala comedy, theaters, and also just watch videos on YouTube about, different people, like people are teaching Lingala, for example, on YouTube. And I think awesome. Media or something, internet is a good thing to use for that.
That's interesting.
Powerful internet. Okay.
Yeah.
Very.
Okay, yeah. So what I was going to ask, and actually I think we skipped this one, so just to double back, this is a good one. So when it comes to languages, and I'll add a second part to this question. So what do you think it would take to make one of our languages an official language of Congo? And then even if we did, if you could choose one, which one do you think it would be? Or I should say, if you could vote, what would you vote for to be the official language?
It's conflicting.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. If I had to choose, but the thing is, I'm always conflicted between Lingala and Kikongo, because Lingala is it's something that I believe a lot of Congolese know, even those ones that are not from the West. People just know Lingala. So I feel like in terms of easiness, like things being easy, I think Lingala would be a popular choice because everybody kind of speak Lingala. But Kikongo is something that is very close to me because I feel like it's a very intellectual language. It has a lot to know. It's very deep, and I'm not talking about the Kikongo that I speak. I'm really speaking of Kikongo as a language. So I feel like in terms of like quality, I think Kikongo would be it, but quantity, Lingala would be the thing.
Okay.
And yeah, what it would take. Sorry, were you saying something?
Yeah, he's about to say, what would it take?
Yeah, in terms of what it would take, I would say it would take the government deciding to make the necessary changes, but also it would take people being aware of the values that our languages kind of hold. So I think us speaking more about the values of keeping our languages would kind of wake people up to the concept that we are kind of neglecting what we have for something that is foreign. So it would take awareness and also the government just doing something about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now and I was going to say one thing I wonder, because it's interesting. We've met like more people from the East, and one thing I keep hearing very interestingly, I guess over in the East are some people who like kind of consider Lingala to be like a ghetto language or like for the uneducated. Like there seems to be that sentiment.
Mm-hmm.
So I get, and I mean there's complicated history there, but I guess what are your feelings on that?
I've heard a lot of comments about Lingala being ghetto as well, but people have to understand that, the Lingala that they're most likely referring to are Quinoa's Lingala, There are people in Equateur that still speak the original Lingala. So Lingala is so much deeper than just what people speak in Kinshasa. So I think it's out of ignorance as well. It really is out of ignorance that people see Lingala as a ghetto, but like the way you say it, language. But it's a good language.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it was funny. I remember one person we know. The way he explained it to me, or at least where he was from, why that it might have that sentiment is because I guess under Mobutu he made Lingala the language of the army, and as you can imagine, our army, when they encountered people and they needed money, they might have gotten a little too physical. So now, if you're growing up and your only exposure to Lingala is that one time the army dude beat up grandpa, you might grow up feeling like, man, F that language, man. I don't mess with Lingala.
But it's been years since that happened. We all know that Mobutu was ruthless. So hate Mobutu, don't hate Lingala. Lingala is a language. You don't have to hate it. It's part of your culture. And I really think the more people are educated, the more they can make that difference. So it's not because I hate the Congolese government that I should hate Congo, because it's my country. It doesn't make sense. So I guess, yeah.
Which, fellas, I mean, what do you guys think? What would you vote for?
I would, for some, in certain books I read that even though they try to make French French is like the unofficial language of Congo, I read in certain books that it was like Lingala, like through all these different tribes, majority, the African language that would speak was Lingala. So I would vote for Lingala, from at least what I read, where it's like Balubas, Bakongo, Chiluba, like they all know Lingala. So I was like, all right, we'll make that the language, if that's the language where we can all talk to each other.
And I find Chiluba is very similar to Lingala, actually. But yeah, go on, guys.
Really? I thought Kikongo was similar to Lingala, not Chiluba.
I think the Kikongo that is spoken in Bandundu is similar, but the original Kikongo is very close to Chiluba.
By the way, Kikongo, it's actually one of the main language that every language has a root from. Even English has a little bit of Kikongo.
Really?
Okay, I didn't know that.
Absolutely.
Actually, that would make sense, I think.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. But, my to join you guys on
Yeah.
that question. Like to me, if I had to vote on which one of those languages would be like first or second, Lingala definitely not, because I don't. This is just my personal opinion, but I feel like Lingala is too much of a familiarity. You know what I mean? Like it's like one of those languages that
Everybody know it? Okay.
it can make you uncomfortable in a sense of like sometimes people just can use that and take the situation for granted. You know, they use it to their own
Exactly.
advantage, and I don't like that.
Oh, okay.
It's like
Okay.
you losing that respect. You know,
Yeah,
not
like the
that
seriousness of the language.
exactly.
Okay. Okay.
So there's that. So I will vote like for Swahili because also for it create like more unity with different country already that speak that language in Africa.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is just me.
Oh, this is
How about
interesting.
you though?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Patrick, can I say this before? It's interesting because, okay, Julie, you said Swahili, and I sometimes forget that that's one of our languages, like in Congo or whatever.
Absolutely.
So, Felie, have you heard of the Nation of Islam? Like
The Nation of Islam?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Nation of
Malik Shabazz.
Like Malcolm X and stuff like that.
Farrakhan, yeah.
I've heard of Malcolm X.
Elijah Muhammad.
Oh my gosh, Patrick, she's black. Oh wow, but you're in Australia. But anyhow, so the Nation of Islam in the 1960s, they would incorporate black people to come, but they would tell the black people they would teach them like Arabic. And I would always ask the question, because I have like an American friend's family that's from that group, Nation of Islam. I was like, why didn't they teach those black people Swahili? Because even the whole concept of knowing another person's language rather than learning an African language, that still psychologically makes you look up to somebody else. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So and that's what they did with the whole continent.
Yeah, well, they're Muslims, so it kind of, and the Quran is in Arabic, so it's like, it makes sense.
Yeah,
but,
right.
But it's a fair argument. I mean, for the Pan-Africanist, Swahili.
Yeah. Right. I was like, those learn Swahili, because Swahili seems, even like, am I wrong, Julian and Felie? Please correct me, Patrick. In West Africa, don't they speak some Swahili, or is that only East?
East, mostly East, yeah.
Do we know is there like a central language in West Africa and North Africa that's spoken?
Like who speaks? So
would it be Pidgin?
Speak English.
Uganda speaks Swahili, Burundi, Rwanda speaks Swahili too.
Rwanda, Tanzania, Kenya.
These countries.
Yeah. What were we saying before this?
Oh, you said which one would I choose?
Yeah, Patrick.
Which one would you choose?
I mean, for practicality's sake, probably Lingala, but there is this complicated history with the different languages. I think as we've been doing a lot of this stuff, I've been becoming more and more aware of, to be honest, growing up, I just assumed everybody spoke Lingala, but now I've been learning in the past couple of years, like, no, there's a whole other side of the country that quite frankly doesn't get talked about as much. Yeah. So, and over there, Swahili really is the language there that is more relevant to them. Like
what a beautiful language.
It is.
Yeah.
So, it really is.
So I mean, I would entertain the argument of Swahili, to be honest. I would and
then
how people love Italian language, like they say it sounds romantic. To me, Swahili is like the romantic language from Africa.
I think Swahili is romantic language. It's a romantic
beautiful.
Language. And I was always saying this because I was in Kenya for like 6 months, and I would always tell my friends, I was just like, but Swahili is but they don't think, see, that's the thing. Africans on the continent don't really see the value of these things. So I was the only one there just blabbing about Swahili being a romantic language, where my friends was like, just imagine someone talking to you romantically in Swahili. I'm like, I listen to Swahili, love songs, and they're really nice. And so I feel like there's a
Lingala is good too in music. I'm not gonna lie, it's something about
Yeah.
Of course.
Lingala, of course. It's like the base, like
Yeah.
it's c'est la base.
C'est la base, c'est la base.
C'est la base. It's, yeah, just saying.
Well,
Cool.
Julian, I've heard that. Like my father's side, they speak Swahili, and I've heard that where it's like, no, like Swahili is like just so beautiful.
Yeah, bro. I can't. Like. I see myself in a situation where, because my parents, my dad, since my dad is from Kasai, and
Okay.
he was born in Lubumbashi, right?
What? That's actually
so
okay, go on.
So the people so this generation, they grew up learning Lingala, Chiluba, and Swahili. So they speak those are actually, if you will add the Kikongo, that would be like the 4 official languages of the country. But just the Lingala,
absolutely.
the Swahili, and the Chiluba, bro, like this is amazing. I will listen to my dad
I
speaking
know.
Swahili. I was
My
like,
dad is fluent in all 4 as well. It's nice. It's like, and
I was like,
I think Swahili also is. I think the Swahili spoken in Lubumbashi and Swahili spoken in the in Kivus. There are also 2 different Swahilis.
Yeah, different.
It's a deep language, and also the Swahili that is spoken. I'm trying to learn the one that's spoken in Tanzania, because apparently it's the pure, like the pure version of Swahili. But yeah, it's just interesting to see like how different they are as well. Like
absolutely
and stuff. Yeah.
All right, you guys, you convinced me. I was learning French on Duolingo. Now I'm starting Swahili. Over.
Yes, learn Swahili. But I feel like for like the future as well, Swahili would help, because people are moving to this, the African continent being, being united and stuff, and people are really looking into Swahili being like the main language. And I think Egypt and Rwanda and Tanzania have made it official languages already. So it's a really good thing in terms of the future of Africa, I guess.
I've heard about that politically, because I know there was a conference that was in, I don't know if it wasn't in Uganda or what, was it in Ethiopia or Egypt, something like that, where they were talking about that. Like it was like an East African conference, and they were talking about like, oh, we're gonna try to make Swahili like the language.
Swahili
it would be good, actually.
It's like the English in the world, like one of the main languages. So Swahili should be that one in Africa.
Let me ask this question. So, Felie, how has COVID-19 affected Congo Talk 243?
I think it has actually been a plus for Congo Talks 243, because I found myself, because you don't have a lot to do. So I feel like I'm just enjoying the process of like reading and filming and releasing content. So I've had the time that that I could have not had probably when I was working. So it's been good. It's been good for Congo Talks. It's good, actually. I'm enjoying it. Just eating, filming, posting, and sleeping. It's the life that I wanted that I couldn't live, and now I'm living that life.
Of course, the eating, of course.
The eating, especially.
So you get the Bantu spirit, absolutely. Staying productive and creative. Yeah. No matter what virus try to hit us, absolutely.
Yeah. I've created my own kind of little world. I'm enjoying it. People should take, if you are into content creation, I think this is a good time.
Yep. Yeah,
let me ask you. We never asked this question, but since you're in Australia and you do Congo, you're teaching Kikongo. Where does majority of your like fans or customers or people that want to learn Kikongo, where do they come from?
Well, according to like my analyst, what do you call it? Analytics?
Yeah, you got it. The third time. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I think most of them actually come from the US. That's weird, I know. So it's the US, Australia, Kenya, and then I think there was like 5 different countries actually, and South Africa, and I forgot the other one. But yeah, most of them actually the US. I don't know what about. Do you guys love African culture in the US?
Hey, when you're here in America, you yearn for home.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. You should. It's funny because you should see like how many hipsters go to like. There's a town called Little Ethiopia, and they'll just be eating Ethiopian food. They
Oh
love
wow.
it. They love it.
No,
Whatever.
but yeah, that would make sense because even when I see like most of the comments are just like, African Americans and stuff like that, or like Africans living in America, first generation Americans or whatever that's what I call them. But yeah, most of them come from there.
I know, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, we've said this in multiple podcasts, but like post Barack and then Black Panther, like there's been this whole, here in the States, this African wokeness. Like, if Julian walks outside on a normal day with that shirt, he'll get more compliments than somebody 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a huge consciousness of like, oh, how do I get back home? And then, with the whole Ghana, going back.
Ghana thing, yeah.
Year of return, yeah.
Yeah, year of return. Yeah, there's like a huge consciousness of of African pride and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would understand.
Sorry if I can allow just to join you on that. Like, I feel like it's a little bit unfortunate that it has to be only in Ghana for now. Because it could have been like somewhere else. It can be.
It could have been, and in Congo, we have a history of that, slave trade as well, and it's really deep. But the thing is, the information is not out there, and I think this is one of the reasons why I want to speak of Congo, because like you don't see a lot of people speaking of Congo, especially in English. It's so important that English speakers speak of Congo, because people know, like when a lot of the American people are getting DNAs now that trace them back to Congo, but the thing is you don't really find a lot, about Central Africa and stuff like that. Yeah. And when like West Africans speak of Africa, they tend to, I don't know why, but they tend to not really speak of the French speaking Africa. They tend to focus on English speaking countries. Yeah. And I think that's a gap that I think we have to kind of like bridge, I think.
Yeah. And I would say one aspect of, or at least one thing that contributes to that, part of it, obviously, once again, it comes back to our government, because, with Ghana, part of it, that year of return really is one thing in a long history, a consistent history of like inviting people of the diaspora to come back. Like Kwame Nkrumah was big on that Pan-Africanist, come back home type thing. I mean, for decades, Ghana has been a place for like Black expatriates from all over, but especially from the United States, to go live there. So they already have like a Black American population living there.
Yeah.
So I mean, for something like that to happen in Congo, for sure, you need the Congolese government to actually promote, not just promote, but even like
it and put some order as well. Like honestly, there's a lot of desordre in Congo, like messiness. There's a lot of messiness in Congo. Even if I had to start a project like that, for example, I would be worried, first of all, for the airport experience itself. Yeah. People, I don't even know if they get trained in customer service, but they're just horrible at it.
Oh, Congo is capable of everything,
So I feel like just the moment of them arriving in the country would already make them hate the country, because the customer service at the airport sucks.
That's true.
And they're most likely going to experience that if they stay, for example, if they decide to stay in Kinshasa. It's a place that I really don't want a lot of people to stay. Like if you want to experience Congo in its fullest, just get out of Kinshasa, because things are messy. That's it. And people just, I don't understand Kinshasa. I really don't. So I think there has to be some order. Even if the government does support it, they have to be able to train people to act right. Because in Ghana, and my family used to live in Ghana. I wasn't there, but they used to live there, and they only had good things to say about Ghanaians. They're so polite. They're so inclusive and stuff like that. We don't have that in Congo. People are insolence. They're impolite.
That's kind of our culture a little bit, like being a little too forward.
It is our culture. Yeah. Those are the trauma,
But
when.
It's very interesting what you guys were just saying, like very eloquently, is like, I think one big thing with the government is, when you brought up Ghana, Patrick, the government has to have a Pan-African mindset. How do you change that mindset for Ghana to be, because remember, Ghana for like hundreds of years was a safe haven place. Ghana, Liberia was always like, hey, welcoming Africans back.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So how do you change the government to have an African mindset to be like, hey, you can.
It's gonna, yeah.
You
it's
know
gonna
who,
take a whole generation to go.
okay, you know who did messed it up though? Mobutu, because when Lumumba, I don't know if you guys know this, but Lumumba was actually the first one from our country, of course, that went to Ghana to meet.
Oh yeah, he. You're right. That conference they had.
That was he was his mentor, you know.
Yeah.
And from there, he was, you know, Lumumba was already ready to, you know, to get into the mindset of Pan-Africanism, you know.
Yeah, and that's why I always reflect on the fact that, you know, like Lumumba was really one of the greatest people that ever walked on the soil of Congo, because we haven't experienced anything like him at all. Like,
too good for this world, unfortunately. Too good for this cruel world.
Too good.
So we have to build it.
Yeah.
We have to build it from scratch, and I really think it's going to take a whole generation to go. Like, I'm really timing this generation in the government. I'm just like, in 30 years, you're not going to be here, so just get out. Just get out. You're messing us up. Yeah. So I really think it's up to the younger ones to educate themselves and just raise awareness, because want it or not, these people in the government, they're not going to be there for forever. So we really have to start thinking as like the future leaders and really start taking like necessary steps, I guess.
Yeah. And the last oh sorry. Now I was gonna say the last thing I was just gonna add, and just to add, like, not just, you know, if the government's gonna be doing this, it means you gotta put money into it. So that's another thing. Cause a friend of ours, I won't say the name, a friend of ours who kind of is like plugged into a lot of stuff, what he was telling me was that part of that whole thing, like, I don't know if you guys remember, it was like last year, the year before last, I don't know if you remember, it was a whole bunch of black celebrities in Ghana for Christmas. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
So according to this friend of ours, what he said was apparently a good amount of them got paid to go by the Ghanaian government.
Oh.
And let me tell you something, Patrick. Sometimes you got.
But it's also an investment.
Yeah, no, but the fact that they knew that, like, wait a minute, everybody's looking. What is Boris Kojo, Issa Rae, Anthony Anderson? Why are all these people in Ghana? What's going on? Ludacris? And then and I know you're gonna touch on it, but you know, like, after that, all of them were doing interviews afterwards, like, oh, we went to the slave castles. Oh, we got to see all this infrastructure, like,
and see the Ghanaian tourist what do you call it, department now. Like, they're really doing well in tourism now because of that. They boosted it. They really yeah.
Based on that.
But here's another thing, Patrick, to go even another layer deeper. Propaganda. Yeah. Let's say if 100 regular nice, decent black people go to Ghana, it doesn't mean anything. But if I get Shaq to go to Kinshasa and we treat Shaq like royalty, we pay him $100,000, just come here for 2 days. And he posted on Instagram how he's like, yo, we were speaking Lingala, I hung out with Felie, I was listening to Franco. You know what that does to the left, like, especially somebody like, and that's just smart business. You were doing business.
Yeah.
That's just
very smart.
You know,
and guess what?
Yeah.
So, and on that, where I can join you on that, it's so for now, Mobutu, when he was running the country,
yes, sir,
he did that, but that was like mostly on the of course, economic, but also for the ego. You know, that he was the one that was able to do that, right?
Exactly.
So 1974, this is what happened. World Cup, and he was able, you know, to do that. We had James Brown in Zaire, Muhammad Ali, Celia Cruz, all the the best artists on this earth.
Look, you know what's funny? Look, think about this as kids. I remember when I would introduce yourself, and people say where you're from, your name. When I would say Zaire or Congo, and people would think, you know what's the first thing I would say? Oh, that's where Muhammad Ali fought.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You go right to the reference, and people get like together. You know what I mean? So it's really interesting, like, seeing Ghana, you clever devil. That's so smart.
Absolutely.
Like, and I always adding to Julian, like, I think I really, like, I always hope that someone with the brain of Mobutu can come out of Congo. Like, he wasn't great, but he was someone, and he did it for his own glory. But if someone who actually loves Congo and has a brain like Mobutu, I think a lot of things can can actually shift in that
Definitely.
country.
It
Yeah,
will happen.
I don't
You know
think.
why? Because as a Congolese, right, or exile, whatever you want to call it, we are the heart of Africa. Without the hearts, nothing can happen, you know. So we
And
are,
that's why Africa is stuck.
yeah. So
Absolutely.
I think everything comes to a cycle. So definitely those things
But
will
do you guys think, we have to start incorporating English in Congo as well? Because Rwanda has done it. So do you
absolutely.
guys think it would be a plus to start walking away from French? That could be too much to ask, but
can I start? I know Patrick, you want to kind of chime in. Wait. Yes, like once you hit like whatever 8 or 9 years old, but you have to incorporate whatever is Swahili Lingala Kikongo, but you have to incorporate the history before colonization.
yes.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
need to
definitely.
know, like, you know what I'm saying? You need to know, what you call it, Kempe Vita, the Congo Kingdom, what we're doing in
Kimpa Vita.
1200. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
1000. You have to know about Egypt. You have to know, like, this Congolese person built this. This Congolese woman did this. Then you can learn.
And that's what kids don't know.
No,
That's
this
what
is
kids don't
this is the
know.
sad part.
And things like what Leopold II did in Congo, also kids do not know. They look up to him as
So
if he was a god.
let me tell you this. Our big problem, you know what it is? It's that Congo is gonna go like this the day religion is gonna be behind us. We put gods too much in front.
And I think it's not, I think,
Hey,
this is what I think.
here we go.
I
Here we,
think-
yeah.
No,
This
but
is.
I don't think.
Sorry, the viral moment.
I'm
Yes,
so
ma'am.
sorry. God.
No, go
I don't
ahead.
think
I
there's-
love it.
For real.
Yeah, and I think it's really good to put God first, but what we practice in Congo is more like a dead faith. Even the
I'm not
Bible
agree.
says like faith without work is a dead faith.
Exactly.
And I feel like we have a whole new generation hoping to grow up and be a pastor because it's turned into a business opportunity for them. And I think, serving God should not be a business for me. So as well as serving God, you should stand for something.
Yeah.
It's not because you love Jesus or you love God, then you're not, because God, the way that I see it, God sent you here as his agents, right? He's not going to do a miracle. He's going to use people. So I think Congolese people, they have to really wake up from their dreams because they fast for weeks. And I'm like, dude, like there is no miracle. I don't know what they expect. You cannot fast every day and expect miracles.
You know what's the problem though? It's because a Congolese never ask himself the question, which am I serving the right God or the wrong God? When is gonna have the answer? Because the God that Congolese people are serving right now, it's the God from the white God, the white Jesus.
White Jesus. Exactly.
Yeah, for real.
I'm not saying that Jesus is white.
It's the same God. Hold on. The God the Congolese serving right now is the same God that King Leopold II brought, like for us to be blind, he used that God to kill us. So this is the God that we're going to serve.
The way that I tell the difference is, for me, I think the Bible has a lot for you to learn. The Bible is a very important thing. But the way that Europeans taught the Bible, it almost makes African just accept every bad thing that comes to them, and they expect God to miraculously take them out of this mess. That's not true. Even what the Bible tells you, there's a time for everything. For example, Africans or Congolese people, they can kill their people in the East, but they're willing to turn the other cheek. I'm just like, this is the height of dumbness, of stupidity. Like, if I was in that position, I'm God. You cannot come to my land and kill millions of my people and expect me to turn the other cheek. No, I'll bomb you. Exactly. I'll do it. And we're all going to go to God and be like, God, forgive us, for we have sinned. I'm just like, God, I was defending my people. I'm sorry. But you cannot come to Congo and do everything that you want to hurt my people and expect me to turn the other cheek. If someone killed your mother, would you be like, kill my sister too? Like, honestly? Yeah. So I and the Bible is based on love, and I feel like in Congo people don't love each other enough but they're willing to accept anything that the white man brings to them and stuff like that, and be like, God wants this to happen. No, God doesn't want that to happen. God wants you to use your brain.
I'm telling you, if the day the Congo, in the Congo, we're gonna say, okay, God, okay, but at home, Congo is gonna be like this.
Yeah. One thing I would say, kind of address what you're saying, Julian, because I think what you're talking about is not even unique just to, Congolese with Christianity. I think, and I don't know necessarily if it's an issue of Christianity or even religion. I think it's the way people approach religion, because I believe you can be a Christian, you can be a Muslim, you can be whatever faith you want to be.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, there's a way that people sometimes practice religion where they don't. It's almost like they kind of turn off their brain or critical thinking.
Absolutely.
So when it comes to religion, they don't let. When it comes to religion, they don't question and ask questions.
There's
they just
no logic.
let me not examine, or let me not think, because even with Christianity in Congo, okay, so you have the Christianity that Leopold brought, right? But we know the Christian missionaries were coming to Congo with I always forget his name. Is it Joachim the First? Mani Congo. Back in the 1500s.
Mani Congo, yes.
And they have documentations that, even King Leopold himself sent a letter back to Belgium, telling them that, the people in Congo know God, so we're not going to teach them what they already know. Like, before they came, Congo had their own, they were praying to God. So it's up to us to get to know what was there before they came with this idea of like white Jesus.
It's our ancestors. That's it.
We have to get to know what they had before.
You know what's the problem? That's why you always, like if you take a white, sorry, and I don't mean to interrupt. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Hey man, you grew up like in Belgium, so I understand. You like right there with the people who did us dirty. So it's kind of hard to.
Yeah, for real.
You're looking around like, man.
Oh, for real, because it's actually dangerous. That's how you know. That's how you know. You know what? That's how growing up. I'm so blessed to that I was raised by my parents, because my dad, for example, he spent many years in Belgium where he could get the citizenship and all of that, but he never did. And I never understood that, before. But when he passed away, he passed away as a Congolese man that grew up, that spent like most of his life in Belgium. And that shook me, because I'm like, damn, this man knew who he was, and he was like so attached and proud. You know what I mean? That's a huge message. So I'm like, and I'm like, damn, we have to be careful, and in a sense of like study like us history.
Right. Hey, Julie, Julie, let me add to what you just said about your father. You know what's really weird? You know how I have that joke about my name, Patrick, how long my name is? You know what I realized? In all of my documents my father left me, he never put my French name.
Exactly, bro.
What is my father telling me?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Because when Mobutu was in power, he was like, he was like, everybody needs to have a French name.
Exactly.
But my father, in all the documents, he never put Jean-Jacques. So when I would tell my friends, oh, my name is Blake Aziza Jean-Jacques, they'll be like, well, how come it's not a document? I was like, I don't know. I was always told that. But the fact my father didn't put that there, what is he telling us?
That's huge, bro. That's huge.
Going back to what Patrick and Felie would talk about, like religion and what we used to do, like we used to believe in our ancestors, we would respect nature, treat each other right, be like a nice, decent human being or whatever. But the one problem is we don't believe in us. So how you were talking about like 1 million people would get killed and stuff like that? It's hard for me to love you if I don't love myself. Like when you have self-confidence, you're not worried about what somebody else is doing or trying to harm somebody else.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That's why I don't know how it is in Australia, but here in the States, like, man, so many different groups of people are able to do well and keep their language, where us, even as first generation, or the Black Americans that are here, we have so much problems because we don't love ourselves. We're always trying to seek somebody else's approval.
Yeah, and I think beginning to do stuff that will like decolonize us mentally would kind of contribute in waking people up. Because like when I reflect who I was in Congo, it's like you're existing. You're sleeping. That country, it's like you're awake, but you're asleep.
Sleepwalking, yeah.
Exactly, and it's exactly, and it starts from the top. From the top to the bottom. If the top is not even awake, you bet the bottom is going to be asleep as well. And it's really crazy. Like my goal, my dream is to just make Congolese people understand that, listen, you have so much more than that. Europe has nothing.
Yeah.
What we have to learn from us. It's like this big. It really is.
The day.
Yo, go ahead,
Congo.
Julian.
No, seriously, this is like economically, right? With all we have as a natural resources, I don't even have to list. You all know what we have, right?
Yeah.
The day the Congo decides, someone in Congo, right, say, okay, European countries, get the fuck out of here. You know, let's rebuild ourselves because we've been through so much. We've been working for free for 400 years for free, and then. Like, you mean like we owe you money for real?
Yeah.
Let's get the fuck out of here. We're going to rebuild ourselves, just ourselves.
But even owing money, Congo alone can pay all the debt that all African countries
exactly.
owe. 1 trillion of Congolese mineral resources is more than enough to pay every debt that every African country has. Now, I don't know what is happening. Why is Congo on the floor? Like, all of these countries are, they're like nuclear powers, but Congo has uranium. They use Congo's uranium, and Congo is not a nuclear power. Congo it cannot even defend itself, even in front of our neighbors. And I just don't understand why that is happening. And I'm really into the whole idea of like Pan-Africanism, but I also believe that individuals, like, and I mentioned this in one of my videos, I feel like Africans, we have to really start thinking of like establishing new institutions outside of the AU, because the African Union is just like a gathering of African leaders. So I feel like we have to have like independent institutions where we can like mobilize resources and keep these people accountable. And for me, I feel like no one single individual, should be allowed to just destroy what, other people want. So I feel like if we are able to kind of like free ourselves from all of that, being fans of leaders and stuff, we can be able to like manage ourselves. Like, I'm agreeing with you, Biloko, like we don't believe in ourselves. Yeah, like Africans or Congolese people, for the most part that I know, everybody just wants to be a president because they believe that when you are, and that's why when they get there, they don't do much. They just steal. Yeah. Because exactly, everybody is dreaming to be the president, but they're not dreaming for them to get Congo out of this mess. They're dreaming for them to go and get their part as well.
Look at this, for example, right? Like,
okay,
we're thinking, like you said, the president's like, oh, I want to be the leader of this nation to make it change. But in order to be a great nation, you first need to be a good family. Once you're a good family, then you're a good neighbor. Then a good neighbor to a good community to a town, then to a nation, right? Like, picture this in Congo, right? And we had somebody, remember Patrick and Julia, we had Mawisa talking about waste management. Could you picture if we had a good sewage system in Congo? Just picture that, right? So let's say Kinshasa has a good sewage system. That means cholera is down. That means people are living longer. People are not dying early. You have more people that are healthy and able-bodied, which means more people can work. And if you have more healthy people, more better ideas.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right? Just think about that. Because like when it rains in Congo, towns get shut down because our sewage system is terrible, right?
Or roads collapse and
right. So just think about this. So rather than get 20 days of good work consistency, for 3 weeks, this town is shut down because it's a rainy season. No economy can work like that. Look at America. We've been shut down for 8 weeks. People are going crazy. It's only 8 weeks. You know what I mean? So absolutely. It's just something that small where it's just like, all right, well, have the kids speak Lingala, learn the history. Let them go. Like, it sounds weird. You can't force people. I don't know if you can force people to be like, hey, we need 100 nurses and 100 doctors. You know what I'm saying? Or we need 100 engineers, 100 civil engineers, and they need to come back to them. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
And that's a good. That's a good point. I really think the education system in Congo has to change, because now when people study, they just want to be a lawyer, they want to be a doctor, or they want to be something. But Congo has, you know, a lot of arable land and nobody's studying agriculture. People are dying in Congo. Can you imagine people are dying of hunger in Congo? And this place has rain all the time. Sun is unlimited. Rivers are everywhere. And people have no water. They have no electricity. I feel like we're wasting the natural resources that God gave to us. So we're wasting water. We're wasting the sun. We're wasting everything, the land.
Let me tell you something. If you just had a city planner in Congo, a city planner to be like, no, this town, like you're in Australia, there's a city planner where it's like on the corner here, there's like, no, you have one gas station, you need a grocery store within distance, you need people to walk, just something like that. A city planner. It would make life so different. The people would be like, oh, there's a park here. Yeah, it's good for the environment. The trees, CO2, you know, help you breathe. Like, it's like, you know, look, a doctor's great. It's a great title. They get to wear a coat. But it's like, okay, you have that, but you need that other stuff that these developing countries have.
And what's the use of having a lot of doctors when you don't even have facilities to employ these doctors?
Yeah.
They're struggling.
Yeah, because I think for doctors back home, they usually have to like go work in South Africa or something like that if they actually want to.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had a friend, you know, I have a friend that ever since he graduated, it's been like 5 years or something. He's been an intern from this place to that place, from this place to that. I'm just like, look at how they're even wasting even these main skills that they think Congo need. They're wasting it because they don't have places for these doctors to work. And even when they do find places for them to work, they're not paying them. They pay deputies, you know, 5,000 or whatever a month. And then when it comes to a medical doctor, the maximum they can get is probably $200 a month. And that's just discouraging, and you cannot build a society in that department. And that's why I'm saying, like, they should invest on other innovative ideas as well. You know, have some people studying engineering, have some people studying agriculture, and people can be able to kind of like create jobs more than just being employees or something, or waiting for places to open.
A garbage man in Congo would be, I'm telling you, like we talk about waste management, that episode, a garbage man, just setting up the trash.
You know,
Oh my goodness.
I was thinking of an idea along those lines where, like, you could have a company and hire young people, and basically we can work, like, you hire people from each each suburb or something, and then for each family you just tell them to pay you, let's say $1 a week or something, or $1 a month. So per month, if you have like 5 or like a million families, $1, you can get the million that you need to hire other people and to create other opportunities for people. So these are, I don't know if people in Congo are not really thinking of these initiatives, but I really think someone can think of something like that, you know, and paying $1. No, you know, families wouldn't mind paying $1 a month for you to collect their trash.
Absolutely.
And then you have a place to put it. And then if you have scientists who specialize in waste treatment or waste management, it's even better. Yeah. So stuff like that.
Yeah.
People can think of that.
Yeah. I was going to say, and I hate to always, it's like the government, God. Because a big part of that is you kind of have to have like a system in place that empowers people. Like, and Julian, I don't know, can we talk about a little, you don't have to name names, but remember that thing you told me about the movie about King Leopold's ghost? What happened with that? Can we talk about that, or can we not?
Yeah.
Remember the reason why they couldn't do it in Congo?
Shit.
Remember you told me about it, but I don't know if I can. We don't have to name names. Is it okay if I bring it up, or?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so like this is just an example. Like here's what happens when you don't have a government or a system in place that has a mind or structure. So, Felie, I'm sure you saw. I don't know if you saw the big American actor out here, Ben Affleck. He wants to make a movie about King Leopold's ghost.
Absolutely.
He got the rights.
Oh, okay.
Everything, right? So of course, King Leopold's ghost. Why not do it in Congo? We probably could go have him film in the exact places where all these atrocities were done in the first place.
Are they not? Oh.
They're not. And unfortunately, the reason why is because because it costs money for anybody who's watching. It costs money, obviously, to shoot a film. And, normally you go to a government, you ask, hey, can you give us some tax benefits or something, make it easier for us? Yeah. And normally governments fall over backwards because it brings free publicity. You're hiring people. You're stimulating the economy. But apparently,
Congolese government is making it hard.
Exactly.
Yeah, asking for more money. So chances are, guess what? If you know Africa, if you're not going to do it in Congo, probably South Africa.
Right.
Yeah.
So now imagine this
Oh,
movie
Congo, man.
about our history, the atrocity that happened in our history. Chances are it's
Exactly.
probably going to get filmed in South Africa.
Which is fucked up.
Oh my God.
Might as well
Yeah.
do, you know,
And this happens when you have dumb people at the head of the country.
Exactly.
You really do. People who do not read, they don't know any principles of economics. They don't know any
They don't know.
business thing.
wow.
So they just see what is immediately there. They just see what they can get out of it
Yeah.
immediately, but they don't see the long term
They,
things that it could bring.
they don't. They really don't. That's why in Congo you have to raise. You just like to cut the grass, like the whole thing, like for 2 or 3 generations. Unfortunately, that's the truth because most of these greedy motherfuckers, they just want to have money. That's it. Corrupt.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, I didn't.
And it's complicated.
It's
It's
sad.
funny. We're
Yeah.
gonna. I'm laughing because we just went on a whole tonton and tantin like you know at the end of parties when they'll start talking about politics. Like sa na pongo te funny azali president ya biete. Boma ki no na I was like right.
But you can't, they're like unavoidable. You can't really talk about Congo without talking about the poor leadership it has. So I guess that's why people just lean towards those kind of stuff.
We asked this last question, right, to every guest, all right, ever. First of all, Felie, this has been great. We could do
Absolutely.
we could do another podcast.
We got to do a part 2 with peanut butter.
Forget Congo, like it should be Congo talk. How do we improve Congo? But what's your spirit animal? Like that's a good way, right? Do we talk about this politics? Your spirit animal.
Yeah, it's probably an eagle.
Why?
Eagle?
Just fly. Yeah, I feel like it's not the most powerful animal or anything, but at the same time, it just has a height that nobody can really reach. Like if an eagle had to fight with a lion, it's not like a lion is going to fly and chase it or something. So I feel like, I think eagle would be it. Because physically I'm weak, but I'm strong mentally. Physically, you can probably beat
That's
me,
what
but
matters.
mentally I'll beat you. So I'm an eagle.
That's strong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, because mine is a Black Panther. Julian, which one's yours?
Oh, okay.
Leopard.
And leopard. Oh,
Tiger.
and Patrick,
Sorry. Tiger. I said tiger.
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 Yeah. And mine is the falcon.
Falcon. I don't know if I know what that is, but okay.
It's a bird.
It's a bird? Okay.
Yeah.
Why? What is it like?
From Crenshaw. He can fight blood and Crenshaw.
I mean, it might be, I don't know which is bigger between a falcon or an eagle, but they also, they'll eat other birds. They can fly real fast. So,
Yeah. Cool.
All right. So, Felie has been great. Where can people find you? Plug your
Felie Kazadi. Pleasure.
Yes. Find me on Instagram. It's Felie Kazadi. Basically, it's just Felie. So FELIE KAZADI at Felie Kazadi. And then you can find me on Congo Talks 243 as well. And on YouTube.
YouTube and Instagram, right?
Yeah, YouTube and Instagram. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll put all the descriptions in the comment sections. So people can be able to find you. You can follow us, Bantu Boyz, Instagram, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
Follow them, guys. Follow them. They talk about the canteens and peanut butter.
Also, leave a comment, and we reply immediately. We try to reply, I would say, within 3 hours, at least for sure. We'll always try to reply to a comment. Share, subscribe, and you'll be able to follow me, Blake, when we sit through that. And Julian
Chikuna. I follow you with my personal account. Obviously, we follow you already with Bantu Boyz, but I just sent you a request probably the last hour.
Cool.
No, plug your social media, Julian.
You went off, Bileko.
Plug your social media.
Absolutely. So very simple, at Julian Chikuna on Instagram. And same on Facebook. I don't have any. Actually, I do have a Twitter. So the same, Julian Chikuna. Easy peasy.
Yeah, Patrick.
For me, you can hit me up at Congolese.YouTubers. That's Instagram. That's Facebook. Yeah, DM me, hit me up. We promote the culture.
Yeah.
Amen.
Love
Felie,
it.
unasema Mswahili?
Nasema kidogo.
Kidogo, eh?
Ninajifunza. I'm learning.
That's good. That's good. You have like more. I have like couple words. That's it.
Oh, okay.
All right, we'll see
Learn
you
more.
guys. We'll see you guys next time and next week. All right, you guys have a good day. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Keys are going to Congo. Free.